Hey Pioneers, welcome to my first live stream. This is, Satisfactory, should I say, a live stream of Satisfactory. I've done 2 others. So this is going to be a bit of an introduction to what I've been doing. A little bit of cleanup that I did since my last episode that is on YouTube, episode 106. When I finished the Fixmas factory. So yeah, this is going to be pardon me one moment. My Satisfactory view on mobile is a little bit off center. It's a bit of a technical difficulty, but we'll get through that. All right, back to what I was saying. All right, that looks a lot better. So if anybody's watching on mobile, apologies for that little mishap. Yeah, teething problems. So in the last 106 episodes, I've been sort of busy with a lot of building. So I'll go through the build plans and whatever pretty soon. But basically, there is a lot still to do. I am starting to fear that I've bitten off far more than I can chew. Yeah, that will be sort of soon to tell. So let's have a look. Let's get some tunes going. Okay. Bit of a rough start, but we'll get there. Yeah, so this is for those who do not know, who have not seen, let's get over there. That's RDUI. This is my sort of starter factory. It started 2.0. It's been through a couple of revisions and rebuilds. That is the power plant currently producing 25 gigawatts, and I've actually fixed it. So if there's anybody who's actually seen my previous episodes, there was a little bit of an issue where it wasn't actually getting up to 25 gigawatts. And I've now recently sorted that out. It turned out to be a water provisioning problem. I had enough water coming to it, but not water getting to the individual power plants. Some of the power plants were actually underprovided or not provided at all, so it wasn't actually generating up to 25 gigawatts. Yes, gigawatts. So I'll go through and I'll show a little bit of a fix over there, and then that's our Fixmas village. And then behind me is the behemoth, the Citadel. If anybody is a Half-Life fan, you will understand the reference. Now, all the nice, pretty additional add-ons, such as the sort of cabling and all that sort of thing, that'll come in time. But this is the basis of the building, and we're currently covering the build that is completed is phase 1 and 2 ready. Obviously, I still have to now provide all the resources. So this is the main tower, this is the production tower, and then over here is the logistics tower on the side of it. So what will happen eventually is this will be the import section where all of our resources will come in. Initially it'll be belted in, but actually that's a good segue. If the upcoming release, well, date still to be confirmed, of 1.2, we've got the better truck pathing, which means I'm willing to actually get into trucks. I've never done trucks before because of all the, shall we say, issues with them doing some really, really weird stuff. So I wasn't actually interested in trying to delve into that side of things, and I've always just done belting. And then when I've gotten to it, I've unlocked trains and I've done trains or monorail. So now I'm actually looking forward to trying out the trucks. I'm not too sure if it's going to be viable though, considering the sheer quantity of items. Each of these war holes represents pretty much a full belt for the most part. There are some that are not exactly full, and they're split because of balancing and whatever, but most of these are actually going to receive 100% capacity belts, and I'll take you for a little bit of a look into that shortly. So if we take a bit of a run, you can see we've got our import, we've got smart plating 1 and 2. That's our L1, the L's are our logistics levels, and our P's are our production levels. Smart plating L1 and P1, then P2. Then we've got versatile framework, automated wiring, and there's 4 levels of automated wiring currently, and then we just get up to our top zones. So that literally covers phases 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 3 and 4 and 5, etc. So yeah, those have all got to come and they'll all go up the top. Let's go for a bird's eye view, and we'll be able to see as we go past. We can see all the logistics levels and the production levels. So a little bit of escape past. Actually, let's do a stop by that one. So we just pop our head out. So you can see this is one of our production levels for automated wiring. And yeah, I've gone through the blue lighting, the blue aesthetic. It's trying to fit with the whole Half-Life Citadel, dark, eerie kind of structure. And you can't see much at the moment because it's all encased. and that's deliberate. So one, because of the sheer amount of machines and for the drawing of those objects when you're very close, at least what you can see, it reduces how much is actually visible, but two, it fits with the whole aesthetic of the Citadel. And here we are. This is, I believe, 400 meters above sea level. Get out. Oh, what happened there? Anything glitched there before in the camera? That's new. Alright, so this will give you a bit of an idea as to how big this behemoth is. And there you can see the logistics tower with its logistics coming across to the main tower. So everything goes in from the bottom. It'll go into the bottom up there and then gets shifted up all the way through and will come up through the logistics tower. Phase 1 being on the far right on that side, and it goes through phase 2, 3, 4 and 5 along this side. And items will continue carrying on, so upwards. So essentially whatever gets produced at the bottom will come on up through and carry on all the way to the top to provide to the next level. So ultimately phase 1 feeds phase 2, phase 2 feeds phase 3 and so on and so forth. Some items obviously skip straight through and they don't even feed the phase in between. There's a couple of items I can't remember off the top of my head, but we can go through the whole design, the layout, and how that's all sort of fitting together. Why is there no pause in this game? Asks Q8 Vega. Oh, you're talking about like when the pause menu and then everything just carries. I think if that's what you're referring to. There's never been up until now. Well, from what I understand, it's actually a feature that's coming in 1.2, where when you go to the pause menu, it's actually going to pause the entire game. Nothing is going to carry on. I was watching through that today, actually this morning, I think it was. One of the latest updates, so it's something that's apparently been requested, and they are actually going to put it in. I hope that answers your question, Q8 Vega. So yeah, logistics tower that filters everything up, and as I say, it'll feed on from there. I'm just going to take a bit of a parachute around. So these beams are part of a mod that I use. They where are they? Emissive beams. Not 100%. I can't remember exactly which mod. I think it might be part of the structural solutions mod, and you can actually select the emission and whatever on those to actually create that. So it saves on power, not having to set up a million LED panels. Cool, no problem. Thanks, Vic. So just an example, emissive beam, which is that. If we do coloring, just going to pick this one, and there we go. Now we got a green light. Very cool. Like I said, saves a lot of time and effort of trying to use and resources trying to use these panels. Man, I can't think of what I'm talking about today. Yes, signs. Thank you. So the signs cost quite a bit of resources, and of course, which is doing something to that extent with signs, it'll take a lot of effort. So these are this is everything that's now coming up to either this is coming up to phase 3, so that's coming out of phase 2, and this is coming out of phase 1. So these will be what are they? terrible. My memory's not working today. And we gotta wait for a moment. It's a long lift. And yeah, this is also using a mod to get them, because the lifts are limited to 100 and something, or 200? No, it's 100 and something, I believe. That's the standard. So I'm using infinite. I'll go through my mods actually now shortly. Smart plating. So smart plating is coming from phase 1, and then I've got versatile framework and automated wiring coming from phase 2, and those are going to carry up through there. So one thing I want to show. And go to our logistics levels. Let's pick. Anyway, I haven't put the icons on this one, so there you can see. So our logistics coming up. So this is coming from. Let's clear out some walls here. Alright, let's actually make this a little bit easier to see. There we go. So I've got all my belts and neatly cased in some beams. And these all go up, so they're either input or output. These ones are outputs, and these others are all input, going back in, going from logistics to the main production. And come back here. You can see these are now coming through here, and they're going up all the way to the top. So that just gives us a little bit of a rundown of what's been going on. Oh, actually, you can go that one. Cancel that. Gives you a bit of an idea of how the logistics are going to work when they come in. Now, currently these are Mark 1 pipes. They will be upgraded to Mark 2 because Mark 2 is what's going to be needed for phase 5. And you can see everything's coming in from this side, and they'll all come through these walls, and that's to be done. Let's go to the exit, and this is now the back. Now originally I had the inputs all on this side, but when I realized I've got all this walls, the rock structures and all that sort of thing actually in the way here, this was going to make life a little bit difficult, especially with trains, with the monorail. You're in this end game and didn't complete phase 2 yet. I'm working on phase 1 now. Mate. In this playthrough, I'm a long way away from end game already. At this point, I have planned out all my phases, and I'll show you actually my design just now. So I've sort of planned out exactly what I want all the way to the end, and that is why I'm able to build phase 1, phase 2 in preparation for phase 5 and yeah, obviously end game itself. And good on you for phase 1. Now this is actually my 3rd playthrough, I think it is. So I've been playing since update 5, I think it was. So this has been my big project. This I started... actually, I might be able to tell by the save games. I don't know if I kept all the way back, but... no, that's 120. That's June last year. So I was already at 67 episodes back then. So it's been going for probably the last 18 months. Okay, I haven't been playing flat out, but yeah, it's a bit of a big project that I've undertaken. Again, I think I have, the more I look at it, the more I think I've been far more than I can actually chew. But yeah, I'm eager to take up the challenge. I'm probably going to break the game before I finish the playthrough, I suspect, but yeah. And this is just my starter factory. So I've just got ironworks and copper, deuterium ingots and such and so forth. So we've got, on the baseline, we've got here, copper and deuterium. Concrete and steels are next up. Then we got basic iron, advanced iron, the great sink, and then we've got a rooftop. So advanced ironworks is sort of like your not the iron plates, the reinforced iron plates. And we got screws and whatever as well. So we got quite a bit of screws and everything getting generated here. I had to put in a bit of overhead belts and that sort of thing because I didn't really plan this out properly. But it was more, I picked a footprint and said, oh, I'll go with that. And then basically this all loads up into storage containers and everything downstairs. And the rest heads up to the great sink. Oh, nice. Yeah, so this is the Great Sink. Call it the Great Sink, bit of a cheesy title, but yeah, basically every bit of overflow comes up here. So at least I'm getting some tickets at the same time. Don't know what my I've got 165 coupons of print, so just short of 25,000 items per minute it's processing. I actually quite like the rooftop on this. Sort of almost like a New York City skyline kind of feel. Very simple, but yeah, kind of like it. But this factory will probably disappear eventually. So at the back here, you can see I've got a whole bunch of containers. So I've got a front layer, another layer at the back there, and then even beyond that on the outside. So 3 runs as well. Sweet. So I needed to stockpile because I was doing a lot of construction with this and I was running out of resources very quickly. So I've literally stockpiled everything I can, and then sort of the most common ones I stuck into the dimensional depots so that at least I've got some stuff. As you can see, I've got some stuff there. I haven't done any upgrading through the map, so it does replenish slowly. But also what I have got, and this is where I can actually talk about my mods, is I've got additional slots that I've enabled, just because it's the amount of building I'm doing, running back and forth, and especially once I start building all my satellite, this is going to sound strange, satellite mega factories, and yeah, we'll cover that just now. I'm going to need a lot of resources, and I can't be relying on the dimension depots entirely. So there's sort of a minimal thing to get something going, but I need the huge amount of space. Buildable images, that is that little, what I showed you of the Citadel poster. It's pretty nice. And the daisy chain everything. So yeah, that's going to actually become irrelevant with 1.2, which is pretty nice. Fixer cam I haven't really used much. I'm not sure what that's for. I've got my infinite elevators, infinite nudge, infinite zoop, another inventory space, another 150. So I got 450 additional slots using that. And then there's just status map markers, and then structural solutions. Structural solutions I find is really useful. I actually built my Fixmas village using the structural solution stuff. So they give you a lot of additional things like curved blocks. What else have we got here? Oh, we got the outside curve as well. I can go share. We'll show you the Fixmas village, but yeah, it gives a little bit more, a few more options in terms of what you can build out. So there's that, and there's also these fun floor hole. Can actually be used nicely to highlight whatever it is you want to highlight. So that's my starter factory. So I carry a ton of stuff, and then I've got a ton of stuff available at any point in time that I actually need. And then by the time I need again, it's replenished pretty quickly. This is a Deuterium supply coming out from that side, a little bit of a floating structure there. And now, I'll fix my switch. Actually, I'm going to get away from the music. So I've just placed some general trees around just to sort of hide things a little bit. But basically each house has got a particular purpose. I've got my Fixmas Village videos up on the YouTube channel, so you can welcome to go and have a look and see if you find anything interesting. And then I've got the Christmas, the Santa's house on the top there. And that's producing the Wonder Stars, and so that goes around. I've got it in such a way they're not actually getting produced now because I haven't got Fixmas available. But I put in a little bit of maybe a little bit of overkill in terms of complexity, but there's an infinite loop of how these stars actually just carry on around. I had considered doing it for the other things like the candy cane and all the rest of it, but yeah, the stars at least look nice that they continue to go around. And then everything else is pretty much at a standstill because nothing is getting consumed and nothing new is getting produced. As you can see, it sort of winds around this whole area. So I'll sort of turn the whole thing into a snow town, a northern pole sort of setup. I initially had these ideas of having the belts going around the edges nice and neatly, looking all very prim and proper. But once I started winding things around the place, I kind of liked it. It looked pretty good. So, and these were all done out of blueprints, and I've got them in those videos too. Now for my biggest active build. This was actually set up, this was the first project. So we got at a logistics level, it is it's load balanced, where I've got belts coming in from one end, and you got everything coming from both sides, so that they come into the sides and the middle along the way. The ones that come into the middle then get sort of distributed out as well. So I can show you a design layout of how it actually all fits together. It's far easier to see it that way. I used Satisfactory modeler to get that right. And then over here we've got all our water pumps. So there are, I'm not sure if you can hear me, there are 2.5 water pumps per set of 7 coal generators on the top. So I've actually got full intention to actually upgrade this and to consume 12,000 coal and sulfur per minute to generate I can't remember the math now, but it'll almost double the capacity of what it currently does. So it'll take it close to, I think it's about 45 gigawatts or 45,000 megawatts. But that requires me to unlock quite a few of the things in the later game to be able to achieve that. So this is our production level for our compacted coal. All these machines are underclocked ever so slightly to get the balance just right, because I'm providing 2,400. Yeah, it is a bit big. So this structure, this is these are 2 blueprints or 3 blueprints that are created to get this structure. And it took me a little while to actually put it all together. But this is all designed originally in Satisfactory Modeler, an epic tool, if you ask me. So we got our 2 full lines of coal and sulfur coming into 6 different machines. And like I said, these all except 2 have this clock speed of 95.2381%, producing 23.81 items per minute. And we've got our 2 center machines in the front here. It takes a little while to get across. And these ones on the clock totally produce 9.52 items per minute. And that gets us our perfect balance. And with that, it should be all sorted out now. Oh, come on. We are just shy of the 25 gigawatt level. So, yeah. A lot of blueprints came into this. These individual, I think there's 4 blueprints for these modules, and then just hooking up the few belts that needed to be attached. This is going to get noisy. So in here we have got 353 generators. There are 21 generators per row. There are 17 rows. Now in each row, each group of 21, there is 1 generator that's underclocked to 75% capacity, I think it is. Sorry, 66% capacity. 66.6667, I think it is, to be exact. And that once again keeps us within that realm of consuming the 2,400 coal and sulfur per minute, which is ultimately 2,400 compacted coal per minute. And that gives us just shy of 25 gigawatts. So they're not running at 100% capacity, purely because we... Come on. So we got our max consumption and our current consumption. Yeah. So we're currently only consuming just under 6.5 gigawatts, and that's mostly it's our starter factory over there. And then there's a couple of miners that are sitting on this side. And then, of course, the consumption by this factory in itself. So, obviously, the coal factory in itself has got to produce because we're busy producing the compacted coal. And then we've got two, what I call pods, on two nodes. One coal and one sulfur. I'll let you think about that for a moment. So here is our input. There are 20 lines of coal and 20 lines of sulfur coming into this factory. That gives us our 2,400 per minute. These two lines are two additional. They're actually coming from two separate nodes, and just on that side, and they're actually going to the starter factory there. So a bit of a bridge system here. So I've used blueprints and I've added some hypertubes, which I keep forgetting to use. I'm actually considering removing them because they're not very useful. I don't know. It's just I don't tend to visit this side of the map very often, so not at the moment anyway. They might come in handy in the future. Well, we'll have to see. But yeah, so that's all underneath there, and they sort of go down to the ground, whatever. So yeah, 20 lines of each, and I'll show you where that's coming from. Actually, maybe I should use them. Where does it start? I can never remember. Before I show you that, so that's what I say, it's not exactly useful, I can't really see much, but yeah. And these are, I'll say this is all using blueprints, I've gone and placed down to place down my belts. So yeah, one node, 20 miners. Obviously it's not supported in-game, you can't do this directly in-game, but I have used Satisfactory calculator, and I do actually have a video on the channel with it, where I placed down a miner, 20 miners on a single node, and they each produce resources. And as you see, they are actually coming up. And I've got these shells that I've designed in blueprints to, with the logistics layers as well, modular layers, to cover whether I'm doing impure, normal, or pure nodes. So whether you're going to get a full set of where you're going to go, I think it's Mark 2, Mark 3, or Mark 4 belts directly out of here, or even, whether it's only 10 belts or 5 belts. And also I've got a pipeline version as well. So I can't display that here, unfortunately, because I haven't unlocked everything. But I do have a video on the channel. No, not a mod. Just Satisfactory calculator. So in Satisfactory calculator, you can right-click on the node. So you load up your save game in Satisfactory calculator, and you right-click on a node. And one of the options there is where you can place your miner, and it actually asks how many you want and what sort of your degree of radius turn you want to do. Like I said, I actually have a couple of videos that I've done, but there's a video on my channel where I've actually covered off how I did it to place down 20 miners. And then I can actually now go and upgrade each of those miners either individually in-game. I don't have to then do it outside, but it can be a little bit fiddly because it's not easy to get into it, and I'll actually show you. I may not be able to say anything in here because it is quite noisy. This is the logistics level, where everything is load balanced out. When there's a need for load balancing, it's load balanced out. Otherwise, I think this is actually not load. No, this is not load balanced. This is 20 lines of 120. Now, in the case of like an impure node, we can get, I think it works out to be 10 lines that it gets load balanced into from the 20 miners. That's as a default configuration. As you can see, there's all the miners there. If I go in underneath, did I put a door? This is how I actually hook up the miners for power. So if I go here, so you can see there. So I would take a power cable from there to there, and then down underneath in this is actually connected to points around. There's actually 4 points on the building. 4 corners or whatever. Yeah, I can possibly provide a link to the video. giving me one moment. Should have it here somewhere. And it is a bit of a long one, but I might be able to get a timestamp as well. So that's the video, and it's around about that point, 1 hour 59:20. There's actually, I've got chapters. That's the start of the chapter. So if you use the chapter is called Placing and Connecting Pods. There. That one's a 3-hour long video, so that's pretty much going to cover, it's not the entire video being just the pods, but that'll cover what you're sort of looking for and how I did it and whatever. So yeah, there are 4 power links on the building, so it can be connected to from any angle. And then I've got another, the sulfur one is coming around from this side, and we'll actually run around there and I'll show you. So this is, it took me probably did it not go to Twitch? Let's have a look. Oh, okay, good. Cool. I'm pretty proud of these curves, actually. Yeah, check the video out, and you'll have it actually gives a pretty detailed thing on how I did it step by step, and yeah. I did some additional finagling and lining things up and all that sort of thing because I want, everything to be aligned to the world grid. But yep, you don't have to necessarily go through that process. And here's another pod here. This is a design I was playing with regards to like accessing pylons. I haven't sort of finalized anything as yet, but I thought it was pretty cool. So, you know how you see around, what was that? How you see on major electricity pylons in the real world, you see there's fencing and everything around it. So I was sort of playing with the idea. And this is the other pod. So again, this is also sitting on top of a singular node. So essentially, I will be able to, in this playthrough, produce 20 times the map's resources, or mine 20 times the amount of resources. So it takes the play to a scale sort of unseen. I really need to fix those things. A bit nuts, I have to say. Let's get some speed boost. I must say I'm really enjoying the curves. Being able to put down curve belts and all that sort of thing is really, really good. Okay. I'm just going to... let's go up here. So my intention on this side, I was trying to think of what I would do with this additional space, but it turns out that there may not actually be even a discussion point at this point in time, because it looks like I'm going to need to expand my power plant in that direction. Now, I did sort of start alluding to it a little bit earlier on, so I'm currently consuming 6.5 gigawatts, and current capacity being 25, but my max consumption at this stage is just short of 20 gigawatts. Now, that doesn't exactly give me a lot of leeway, and the reason why is because of the Citadel. Now, the machines I've placed in there are obviously going to need a lot of power. So what I thought was going to last a long time is not going to last a long time. So I'm going to need to make some changes pretty quickly, and that's why I'm now talking about having to expand my power. Having done this before, I think this is the third revision, because it took me about 8 months, not solid, but about 8 months to actually get through it. I think the build of this power plant actually covered the length of, I think it was about 80 episodes, all averaging about 2 hours each. So you can sort of understand there was a lot of time spent trying to... there's also a lot of time that I spent offline that I didn't actually record, or even, sort of started playing through it and then went back to a previous save game. So there were times that I could easily have spent 30 or 40 hours that I actually not registered on the game clock, because I went back multiple times, or ended up redoing everything because, and it was just easier to go back to a previous save point, because deleting stuff is tedious. So yeah, that's pretty much the state of things. Sort of call it the state of the nation. As to the current build, that's actually looking pretty nice. And the blue from the light. So that's pretty much the state of where everything is at this point in time in terms of the build. And I've got a lot of work still to do on the Citadel. There's for the additional phases, but that will come. The fencing that I had up there, just as a sort of a useless side note, is because I had a doggo or two with me on a regular basis, and I didn't want them potentially to fall off the building, because I don't know if they do or not, but I didn't want to take that chance. It's a pretty deathly fall, even for myself. So yeah, I think I got 3 of them running around, named and running around the map. I think that's one over there. So yeah. Well, I think this is where I should get into the other details of things. So I'm just gonna exit to the main menu. No, I don't want to save anything, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to get on to Satisfactory Modeler. Do you want me to show you quickly how I do the multiple miners on the node? Yeah, I'll do it quickly, actually. Let me pull up and see if I've got the browser. No, it's not coming up. Let's try this again. Are you on the video? Okay. Alright, well then I'll get into Satisfactory Modeler. Alright, let me just, I'm going to show what my current coal power setup sort of looks like. And this is it. So you can sort of see this is obviously the very detailed version. I'll show the simple version just now. But as you can see here, so this is essentially how it works. So to each grouping, so we've got each cluster, that's a cluster there, right? So to each cluster, we've got a shared line that comes in, and then we got 2 full lines. That amounts to 142.86 per minute. And that gets shared amongst our 6 assemblers, each of which, except for the center 2, each of which are underclocked to that 93.2381. And those then go to the 3 groups of 7 coal generators. And like I said, one is of each group is actually underclocked to 66.667. And then, so there's 4 that come in the center, they go and they get separated out. So it's load balanced quite a bit. There's actually 8 that come in as an additional. So each line gets its own dedicated pair, as well as another set gets shared across lines equally all the way along. And that's what you saw, what was coming in. So it looks probably a little simpler here, but to get that logistics around and working and everything took quite a bit of a while to figure out. So let's go back. There we go. So this is our current state. This is just the compact version. We got 2400 that comes in. We've got 2 that are underclocked. Those are the 2 in the front. And the other 100 are actually underclocked to the 95.2381. We've got a total of 180. No. Not 411, no. How's this calculated? That's wrong. Anyway, so it's 152 water extractors, and they're going into the 353 coal generators. That's current state. This is the planned future state, where we will have 672 generators and 192 assemblers with 259 water extractors, and they're all overclocked maximum, except for the water, which is a little bit under the 250 mark, and they will all be consuming 12,000. So 12,000 items per minute, and that is based on 20 Mark III miners using Mark IV belts on a singular node. So that same pod structure, just maxed out. And that's 12,000 on a normal node, otherwise it'll be 24,000 on a pure node at that setup. Now for the rest of it. That is my plan. There are, I think, by my last count, a little under 60 factories in total. And that does not include the pods. So each of these, and so that's not including this side. So these are all factories that are either they start off and they stay as the initial intended structure, or they get upgraded. So like the iron ingots, we've actually got 2 different states. So they will, there's one recipe here that's steel ingots. So you've got this recipe is alternate. This is using iron ingot and coal, while this one is using iron ore and petroleum coke. And that's purely so we can achieve balance in the later stages or the later phases of the game. This over here is the Citadel. So you can see how I've broken it up into the relevant phases. So we're essentially providing the consumption or the capacity of half a space elevator at all times. So we got 500 nuclear pasta per minute, 500 biomechanical sculptors, AI expansion servers, and 100 warp drives. That is obviously final phase, but that is what builds upon what is needed elsewhere. So this value will actually govern what we need here. And this is how I figured out I needed 500 reinforced iron plates and 500 rotors per minute to complete phase 1 to produce 500 smart plating, which actually doesn't go to phase 2, it comes to phase 3. So that's one of those that are just a simple pass through. But yeah, and we've got things like 25,000 cable per minute going to phase 2. And that's where that huge bank of war holes were actually on the side of the logistics tower. As you can see, I've got things like 10,000 fixed trigons. I mean, those are all new. I haven't touched any of that. My last playthrough that I actually completed the game was update 8. I think it was, and then I didn't play for a while until release 1. Actually, I played I started playing just after release 1, I think it was. And then, 1.1 came since then. So yeah, we've got quite a structure. So if we go into each outpost and mark say phase 4, and then we've got things like we've got 168 assemblers, 66.67 assemblers doing the assembly director system. We've got another 128 doing the field generators, and another 100 manufacturers doing the thermal propulsion rockets. So that's the kind of structure. So if we go to phase 1, you can see we've got 250 machines now. We had 2 floors. Each floor is 125, and it's load balanced accordingly. And then phase 2, where we had there's 64 versatile framework. That's on a singular floor, whereas automated wiring goes across 4 floors. Again, following the 125 machines, worked out to actually be a nice balanced number. What's going to happen with phase 3 when I get there? With these manufacturers are quite a bit bigger than the other machines, so yeah, that one we got to work out, but we'll get there. So this tower is going to get pretty big. I reckon it probably go beyond the 1,000-meter height. Now, the thing that's now worrying me is I don't know how many or what the upper limit is. I don't remember there being an upper limit on the map. It was only at the outer edges. But that being said, what I know can be dangerous. So the other resource we've got over here is taking uranium. So if we just have a look at the pods, you can see here. So I've structured it out so each pod on the impure is doing 6,000, whereas the normal is doing 12,000. So this is at maximum capacity. That's based on if we go into it, that's Mark III machines at full clock, so 250%. Now, obviously, there's limitations on how many power shards we can produce or get from our slugs without, some tricks and weird hacks that we can do, duplication hacks. But that's where we've actually got the synthetic power shards as well. So I'm actually going to be producing, I think it's 100 power shards a minute, with 85 being extra because 15 of them go to the alien power matrices. So problem with this is it's quite late game. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I might need this. I might need to do some duplication hacks to actually achieve this goal, but all like I've sort of thought about it is, say for example, we go to the iron ingot, needing 5,211 smelters to produce to cater for the 156,000 odd iron ore that's going to come into it. And yes, I realize the belting is going to be a nightmare. That's why I'm hoping to be able to use trucks and of course trains down the line. Still don't know how that's all going to work. Like I said, I might break the game long before I get anything near what this is supposed to be, but I will do it on a much smaller scale to start. So to get things going, I will, sort of not try and build 5,000 smelters, but rather go say 1,000. So do 20% capacity versus the full 100% capacity. That's the idea. How that all works to be found out, because that's obviously going to be the next stage, because I need to start building out phase 1. So if we just have a look here, I've got phase 1 separated out already, phase 1 and phase 2. So this is essentially phase 1. This is what I need at maximum capacity to complete phase 1, just to produce the 500 smart plating per minute. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 factories. And that's not taking into consideration the pods that are going to be built out. Most of it is, in terms of what the pods, is all blueprints. And obviously a little bit of finagling with Satisfactory calculator. But yeah, these are going to be pretty big factories. Each of them is, I mean, that silica is only needing 3.61 machines, so that's tiny. Concrete is only 12. An iron ingot is already 254 smelters on that one. So, yeah, and then we've got our steel ingots, that's only 15. Iron plates, 150. So these are not small buildings. And if we go back to the original design for like iron plates, that's looking at 3,141 machines. I don't know what I was thinking when I started designing this out, but once I got into it, I was like, nah, I can do this. I'm sure I can do this. And I've even got our little Fixmas village. So this is how our Fixmas village is put together. I didn't go with a huge amount of capacity because I only had a small zone to work with. So it's producing 6 stars per minute. And that backtracks through 15 trees, 20 trees, and 9 trees. And these trees are actually associated directly with their individual houses. So it obviously doesn't break it down to the house structures, but it gives you an idea of how everything fits together nice and neatly. So there's no wastage, there's no overproduction, everything is used exactly as needed. The power, so this is obviously the power plant. This is a current coal production plant, and then there's the plan for nuclear, plutonium, fixonium, as well as additional fuel and using power augmenters as well. So yeah, I mean, we're talking a lot of work here, and I mean the amount of machines and whatever that we're actually going to be producing. 24,000 constructors, 21,000 odd assemblers, 32,000 refineries. I'm going to be building up and not wide. So we're going to probably see. It's probably going to be turning the map into its own mega city, I suppose. And it's just going to have to be that way. I don't know how I'm going to handle with the logistics around it. I have considered using like tricks of going under the map for logistics, or just raising everything up and logistics at ground level, like I've done with the Citadel. I don't know. There's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes at this point in time. I'll just have to start building and see how it goes. I'm gonna have to pick my locations pretty decently, because the other problems as well is with these all being singular factories, I've got to get all the different resources across the map into that singular location. So like for iron, it's one single ingotorium, massive ingotorium that's going to hold those 5,000 machines. I've got to get the resources to it. I might have to end up actually splitting that, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Of now trying to figure out where I'm going to put everything. Someone's posting links. Apartment box. Oh, that's where we go. Actually, we can load. We can load this one. Sure, no problem, Vega. Have a good one. So, yeah. This is certainly going to be a major challenge. And I wanted to run through just to give a bit of an introduction to the build, where things are, what I've been doing. And yeah, what the future is. It's going to be a lot of fun. Any smarter or not so, anybody with sort of an inkling of how the Citadel is actually positioned in Half-Life for real, you might actually know it's reversed. That spire on the side is actually on this side, not that. So it was done deliberately, purely because of the way the land lies and where I was going to bring the resources from. So it initially, like I said, was actually going to be on the far side there where the resources were going to come in. That's why I put the spire there. But then when I realized that this is actually a better entry point along here, especially for trains or for the monorail, to bring them all along in here, they're straight into the building over there, it worked out a lot better that way. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to go through. Like I said, I'm going to be expanding this power plant. I might actually end up doing that first. Because I've got all the blueprints and everything set up, it actually wouldn't take too much time to get everything laid out. So it might be a good, 4 or 5 hour stream to get that all done. The only problem I have is if I'm going to future-proof it, I'm going to need to rework the entire water pipe, water provisioning structure underneath, which it was not easy, to say the least, in the first instance. So I'm not exactly enthused about that, but yeah, that's also like heavy future. And by the time I get to that point, I might actually have fuel available anyway. But I'm definitely going to need to expand it because the current structure is just not going to cover what's going to be done for this thing. So, and then when Fixbus turns back on again later in the year, then there's also going to be a little bit of power drain from there. Not by much. Yeah. Might as well show you my home base. What will be the old, because this will actually move. So this is all temporary because I reworked the way the resources were getting provided to the plant there. So this has actually got the biomass burners. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. This was my first little foray into the new design that I was looking for. Obviously this doesn't follow on what I've designed since then, but with the very dark and menacing color structure. But if we have a look here, there you can see there's a bunch of alien protein. This all gets generated in here. So we got the storage container, you drop stuff in here, whether it's these, I can't remember. Oh, I haven't labeled everything. But yeah, whether it's the wood, whether it's leaves, or whatever alien carcasses, they get dropped in here and they get fed into the biomass burners. And oh yeah, this is what I was saying in terms of the structural solutions. Creating this snow landscape made life a lot easier with those blocks, those camphor blocks. It looks like snow that's actually been layered up. And all I did was sort of fit it around the structure of the landscape initially. And then as I started building and placing the homes, I sort of adjusted accordingly. You can see some ground is actually displayed in some spots. But not too much. You can see some rocks there. So I think this was built over like 6 episodes. So yeah, that's pretty good. I had quite a bit of fun doing this. I'll say this will disappear, and that will actually move into the building somewhere, or our home thing will move in there, and then this will probably disappear as well, because most of the resources will be produced in the world and can be found at that time through the normal what you call it, these things in the depots, dimension depots. There was originally a factory over here in this footprint. It was my Fixmas factory, my first Fixmas factory. It was a tall one. Again, lots more videos on YouTube for all of that. So if you're looking for any history and actual build throughs and how I did things and my thought processes and all that sort of story, only recently did I start doing commentary. Towards the end of last year, so most of them are just you watching me build, but yeah, it's been fun and I'm looking forward to what I'm going to be doing in the future. So yeah, now, and with that I'm going to say thank you for watching. It's been fun running through this and starting to get my thoughts into gear and what I'm going to be doing and what I want to do and how I want to go about it. And yeah, I will see you in the next live stream. Everyone is going to be now live streamed. I'm not going to do specific videos and a lot of editing anymore because it gets quite tedious at times. So I'm going to go full out and go streaming and just enjoy and just have fun. So yeah, I look forward to the next one. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.